So I've been working on this video for about 2 months now. Why? Because the FWC took months to release all of the body cam footage and incident reports to me. After having this footage for under a week, the news breaks. During the investigation, there were 2 officers on the scene. I requested all of the body cam footage and only received footage from 1 officer. When I inquired about it, they told me there was no other footage. But after watching the News 6 breaking story, I saw the body cam footage that I was told did not exist. The other thing that bothered me about the whole situation is why it never got to the press in the first place. Obviously, it was suppressed by Wild Florida, but the FWC was actually pretty tight-lipped about it too. Unlike the recent Operation Viper story they were so proud to talk about, this they weren't so proud to talk about. I'm guessing they weren't super quick to tip off the press because they went entirely too easy on the owners of Wild Florida, even though they had a past with escaping animals. Oh, and let's not forget about the FWC enclosure the Rhino escaped from. They probably don't want you to know about that either. Now, originally, I was going to go over all of the information from this story, everything that I gathered from the incident reports to the body cam footage. But now that the news half-heartedly covered the story, I'm just going to drop all of the body cam footage, so you guys can watch exactly what's so mind-blowing about this story. These are the juiciest bits of body cam footage, and I'll interject myself here and there just to point out things that I noticed and thought were interesting.
12.
How did it get here?
Safari Enterprises.
But White Oak? Did you get it from White Oak?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No, not from White Oak. So he came yesterday about noon. It was a 3-year-old white rhino, and from what we were told, every animal is different. You never know exactly what you're getting, but when we were told he's a pretty gentle animal, they were crate training him, so we thought, hey, this could be a good fit. They knew we were a drive-thru safari. Obviously, we needed a pretty quick turnaround to this animal. We needed him to acclimate pretty quick because of what we are. For about 15 minutes, he pacing, doing what normal rhinos when they come out of a crate do, and then he climbed and he jumped over the one and got into the main yard pretty quick. He got up on it and like teeter-tottered on it and was able to push the top guardrail, bend it down enough to fall over to the other side. Then when he was there, he was in the main yard, and we were freaking out. We were getting trucks out of there. We were getting what we thought it might have been worst case scenario, getting high firepower. All the while, the vets
This was yesterday?
Yeah, this is yesterday.
Okay.
The vet's here.
They just said there's a vet on the scene right now. And what's weird to me is they're already talking about getting high-powered rifles in just in case the rhino escapes its enclosure, but it hasn't yet. It's just strange to me that they've already put killing the animal on the table this fast.
All the while, the vet's
This was yesterday?
Here. Yeah, this is yesterday.
Okay.
The vet's here. The Rudy's here.
Rudy was here during the arrival?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we made sure of that. And then the guy, the guy transporting it. So this vet from Arcadia, I got his information, but he's been doing rhino stuff for 25 years. And he's never seen a rhino stay that rank for that long. And they were all.
You said it was a 3-year-old male?
3-year-old male, yeah.
Male.
They were all like, "Hey, this is a pretty wild animal. Like normally they're way better off. Like he should be calm by now."
Captive born animal, right?
It's captive born, yeah. As far as we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do some things. We had to pull the crate out. We had to wait for him to settle down a little bit. He's in the yard. He didn't test it a whole lot. He hit the hot wire and bam, backed off. And we're like, okay, this is good. He learned a lot, right? Yesterday about 5 o'clock, I finally get all them out of here. They all leave. I'm the last one. He's chilling out under a tree. He had started eating some hay, and I'm like, all right, I think we've seen the worst of it, right? We have a camera up there. I'm watching him all night, all day. He's cool as a clam. It rained last night. He was loving it. Then this morning at 7, I check on him, and he's not running, but he's not walking. He's like maybe got a second wind. And the vet did say he's like he may get a little bit ornery in the morning when he has a second wind. But after that, he's learned a lot yesterday because he went to all the corners and saw that he couldn't get out anywhere. And
So who was here this morning?
My whole team, yeah.
So Rudy wasn't here?
No, Rudy wasn't here.
The vet wasn't here?
Vet wasn't here,
okay.
Yeah. So I was communicating with them. Hey, here's how he's doing at 7. I'm like, hey, he looks like he got a little energy, but he's good. He's not tested anything. I'll show you in there when we walk. We wanted to adjust. We wanted to add 1 guardrail on the interior where we unloaded him.
Mm-hmm.
So we were trying to work with him in the main yard and be touch and go. Like we don't want to stress him out, so we'd always back off. We'd put 1 guardrail up, and he'd come over to us, and we would stand still, and he'd go back. And he was doing pretty good. But all in the meanwhile, I was on the phone with the owner of or the previous owner of the Rhino, Rudy, and Rudy's been on the phone with his vet. I had already planned we were going to add one guardrail to the center where he went over. It was just low enough on the interior that he thought he might get over it, and he tried it, and it blocked him like 4 times, and finally he bent it enough to where he got over. I was already working on and had it in place. As soon as we added one more guardrail, we were going to catch him in there because he would have gone. Like he was like coming after us. He's wild. We were going to catch him in there, and Rudy was going to get with his vet. He already had a crate ready. They were going to come. We were going to dart him and crate him, and Larry was going to take him back because this animal was not fit for a drive-thru.
So you were already planning on getting rid of him?
100%. And you can talk to all of them. You can talk to Larry. I said, Larry, if he's healthy, standing in a crate in the shade, we'll keep him cool for a day or two if we need to. But we're going to be able to work something out, right? Like, we're going to be able to give this animal back to you, and I'll cover the expenses of hauling and stuff. But I said, this animal's not going to work for us. He's like, yes, we'll figure something out. So literally, as soon as we got off the phone with that, again, in the meantime, we have firepower to where if this gets loose, we're not taking chances.
What are you using? What did you use?
4570. What did you have?
I got the shell right here.
We had a 270. We had a
375.
yeah, 370. All big guns. I mean, we wanted to be.
That's
able to
the
do
one that was used?
Yeah, one of them.
Well, this and this one. Yeah.
You used 2?
Well, we used several.
Are these are 2 different?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 3 rifles.
Yeah.
Here's the third.
3 different sizes.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest guns that we had.
We had 3 guns going at one time.
Yeah.
While I'm holding these, I'm going to take a picture of these real quick.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are you guys each holding different ones because each one of you shot your own respective rifles?
No, we just happened to pick them up. I had 2 in my pocket.
We were picking them up.
How many did you shoot?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so those 3 were not the 3. There's more.
Oh,
Yeah,
there might have been 15 shots.
Okay. Those 3 different rounds, or were there more
No,
rounds?
those 3.
Okay, up to 15 shots.
Yeah.
I mean, and we hit almost. I mean,
Every
single shot.
we weren't hit.
I mean,
It's a Rhino. I didn't imagine you would
Yeah,
miss.
no, and the vet.
No, but
the
I'm
vet
saying
said
we were also pretty close. We were not like, oh, he's way over there. I mean, we were.
Yeah.
every
we ran up
every
to a tree
round
and
met
it
its
was-
mark, and he was just super tough. So, but the vet yesterday said that this animal is in phenomenal shape, like fighting shape.
Yeah.
He said if a zoo rhino would have done half of what he did, he would have had a heart attack and died. He's like, this rhino came directly. You might as well got a rhino that came.
I mean, a
directly-
3-year-old male, though, is a 3-year-old male Rhino.
Sure, it is.
Yeah.
But this 3-year-old, he said, you might as well have gotten this one straight from Africa. He said, this animal is a wild rhino. And I get that. We need to be ready for anything. Rhino's a rhino, right?
Right.
They can be wild for an hour. They can be wild forever. He was eventually going to settle down, but he was bound and determined. The vet and Rudy weren't comfortable darting this animal when it wasn't caught in the little mini enclosure within the big enclosure, because what do the animals do when they get darted? They go to water, and 2 breaths and he's done. We can't hold his head up, right?
Yeah.
Now, at this point in the story, I want you guys to realize something. The Rhino has escaped an FWC-approved quarantine enclosure and made it into the main enclosure. They explained that they did not want to dart the animal out of fear that it would drown in this tiny pond in the middle of that enclosure. They planned to finish fixing the small enclosure so it couldn't escape a second time, then corral it and dart it. And while all this is happening, they already have all of the guns ready to go in case this animal gets, quote, 4 feet outside of the main enclosure. What I find, why not just corral it immediately and then sedate it when it gets into the smaller enclosure? It just seems to me like it wouldn't be able to climb over that railing again if it's been properly sedated. Also, I heard earlier that they had trucks and other equipment inside of the main enclosure and had to rush to get them out. But why not use those trucks to block off the pond, then sedate the animal? I mean, why not think of ways to save the animal's life instead of killing it right away?
So we had to get that done no matter what, to either catch them and keep them or to catch them and dart them. And so we had, and we'll walk out there and see it, we had one more section of panel to put up, and we would have been able to open that gate and back up, and we would have been able to catch him. But he went and tested the dang fence one more time, and he got hung up in it for 30 seconds, and he thought we was going to back out, but he didn't. And as soon as he got out, we jumped in the truck, and we did what we had to.
So what's Larry's last name?
Of course, you're gonna have
And what state was he from?
he lives here. He has a place here and a place in Texas.
Where'd the Rhino come from, here or
This place
Texas?
came from a place 2.5 hours North Florida.
North
He
Florida?
wouldn't tell me where it came from. He
What?
said the place is super private. that he was brokering the deal. And
I need his last name.
So if that sounds weird, it kind of is. In the original reports, all of the seller's information was redacted, but in the body cam footage, they revealed the origin of this rhino, the CCTU, which I believe is also called Rum Creek Ranch.
Let's see here.
That's all odd information.
Well, because I tried to get this animal insured, and they needed the facility that it was coming from, and he wouldn't give us it here in the state.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't then, we couldn't have insurance on arrival, but he guaranteed survival on arrival.
Okay.
So CCPU or CCTU is the facility it came from, which is in Florida. It's a private facility.
Okay, I am familiar with that.
You feel, yeah, that's where it came from. He got a guy from Texas in a truck and trailer to deliver it here. So I think that facility goes through him to sell, but it came from that, whatever the CCTU. But he didn't want to give me an address to it because the guy's super private, and so then I just said, well, if you can guarantee a safe arrival, then I don't need it.
What's up with your staff?
We're trying to put fires out.
Yeah, how many people? You said they all quit. What does that mean?
Well, at the time, that's what they had said, but they kind of settled down.
But you have multiple staff in multiple different areas, so what does that mean for you guys as far as your staff quit?
Oh, yeah, I mean animal safari. The
Okay.
safari animal team.
So was that giraffe and rhino and zebras?
The boss, not the boss, the manager of the team. So Andrew and then Billy had a hard time with it, and he quit. And they had said that the whole team had quit when he quit, but come to find out when we were dealing with everything that wasn't the case. That
Okay.
Billy had quit. And
The other two are in there.
And he was probably the one who called. And honestly, I was on the machine, extinguishing the situation, and you were my next call. And when you called me, I was still on the machine. So
What's Billy's last name?
Rodriguez Jr.
So he's the only confirmed staff that's quit?
He's the only one that we
Well,
know
that
of
we
that
know of.
quit.
I mean, 'cause there's some
He works
people-
under Andrew?
Yeah. So so
Okay.
it goes. Andrew's the curator of the whole park. So
Both parks?
yep.
Okay.
Desiree is our animal
Gator
manager
park?
over there, and Billy was the animal manager here.
Okay.
I reached out for comment to several of these people, and they all ignored me, or they told me to contact the owner.
I don't know who called. It was anonymous. I don't even have a callback number.
Yeah, and it could be someone who's still here. We're still trying to put fires out. I mean, they just don't understand the severity of it, and that this action had to happen in order for public safety. And luckily, we were ready for it. So it's going to be a constant thing that we're going to have to deal with.
So as far as who was in attendance today when this happened?
So another thing we did last night, I made the call at 5 o'clock. We shut down the safari park.
Okay.
Yeah,
for the day?
Down for the day, yep, to get him in his area. We didn't want the cars stressing him out. I mean, we did everything that we could think of doing, but because of that, we didn't have some staff come in. We had enough to take care of this, and so there was 3 safari animal team members here, and there happened to be another grounds crew that was around here when it happened.
Like landscapers?
Yeah, I've talked to him.
But he was on this side of the
Yeah,
fence.
he's over here. He
They
was
were
back.
all,
He was,
they were all on this side of the fence.
yeah, they all get their equipment and stuff from this yard.
It was
and,
happenstance that they pulled up.
Yeah.
Right when everything hit the fan.
And
I mean, we had been out here all morning.
You're one of the brothers?
No, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
no, he's been with us for 10 years.
Yeah, no, I know you're a long time. So what's your role?
I'm the director of sales, but also...
Yeah, he normally works up in the office and does groups and stuff.
Okay.
But he's been with us so long. I mean, we still build our own stuff. That
Yeah.
this morning he was helping us build the
Okay.
things.
What's your last name?
Brown.
Brown?
And then when it happened, so to preface this a little bit, this morning before starting to work, I brought all the team together and I said, guys, I just want you to be. I want to be completely open with you. If this animal breaches those cables, gets 4 feet on the other side, there's no other way. Like, I don't want to have to do it, but I'm not going to let it get any further. And they're like, yo, we totally understand. You got to do what you got to do. So I'm like, okay. With that being said, we're doing all that we can right now. And I told them I was working with the vet and Rudy. We're going to get this done, get them caught. And I even told them, I said, this isn't a rhino for us. We're going to recoup what we can from this whole deal. We're sending them back. This is a wild freaking rhino that we had no clue we were getting. That's exactly what I said. And they're like, perfect. So then they start, I say, you guys go do your normal duties. I wanted them to stay out of 4 because the buggies get them riled up.
Mm-hmm.
So they continue doing what they're doing. We started putting up rails, and I'll show you. We came to the last section of rail that we have to cut with a torch in order for it to fit. and we pulled the measurement, 121 and 106. We were coming back. I had my truck backed in there, and we were about to fire up the torch to start cutting, and he tried it again on the far corner, and he got stuck, like I said, for like 30 seconds, and then breached it, and my brother's truck was there ready with all the guns in case we needed it, and we made one. We just said, that's it, let's go. We jumped in the truck, and I can show you exactly
Which
how
brother?
it played
Your
out.
brother was here?
Yeah, my brother Daniel was here.
Daniel, okay.
Yeah, he's flying out to Vegas to a trade show, so he had to leave just a little bit ago. But it was me, PJ, and Daniel that did the shooting. He did what we thought we wanted him to do, because we thought, I mean, worst case, if he gets out, we want him to go to the head. Get in the head. Because I don't want him to run and go this way and get out, or go that way. I said, if he gets in the head, that's best case scenario for us. That's what he did. He got out and got in the head. We drove up. We kind of flanked him like this, and we just counted down and we started shooting, because the way he was acting inside the pen, he was going to burn through a couple animals, kill them, and then get out. And there was no chance we were gonna have that. And like I said, we did everything we could to not have to kill this animal, and
Okay,
that's what it came down to.
That's fine. Was this animal, you said he was being crate trained, but was he living with other rhinos at the time?
Honestly, Damon, that we asked for pictures of this animal a dozen times. We finally got pictures like a week ago, and everything we'd asked for information, it was like I had a suspicious feeling that we might be getting a rhino we weren't sure we were getting. Okay. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Got all the pictures before I started filling it over.
Okay.
I mean, there were a
All right.
bunch of bullet wounds, but not any definitive one that killed him, I don't believe.
Yeah, can we look at your pictures in the shade?
Sure.
I thought he was going to be a little bit more exposed.
Oh. No, I was afraid that it would be in view of these random helicopters that fly around all the time.
In case you missed that, he said he buried it so it would be out of the view of helicopters, which just tells me that they were trying to cover this up from the get-go.
Anybody get video?
No. That was me just trying to zoom in on it.
Can I get photo? Do you have photos of him on the ground over there where he laid? Where you dropped him?
No.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the blood.
Yeah, we can show you exactly where it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
We can walk you through step by step.
How many in the trailer do you have?
How many what?
Pictures in the trailer.
Oh, just that one. When I was pulling them out, I'm like, maybe I should get a picture. That's how we loaded them. And I'll show you where we loaded them. There was blood on the ground, and I kind of turned the skid steer on it to kind of block, clean it up a little bit. But
I think it's interesting that he said block instead of clean up, because I believe he was trying to block people from seeing blood all over the ground.
we loaded them in here, brought them out here. On the way out here, like, it happened quick. We didn't want this thing on the ground. We don't want people with long lens and, whatever. We're just trying to, control the situation. And while I was driving the Bobcat out here with Daniel and them in the truck, is when you called me.
This morning he had already tried to get out 3 or 4 times, so we were giving him space.
So
trying
that's
to say,
why
hey,
I called Larry, and I'm like, Larry, this animal's not a good fit for us. I was putting all these things in line, and that last little bit of guardrail is what we needed to get him caught in there. And I was shipping this animal back where it came from.
Well, they even told us, get him in this enclosed area. So we already fixed the panel that he had broken.
Rudy and his vet were on call, and they were going to have the crate ready and the whole 9. But
they wanted him in that area
yep,
so that we
he
could
didn't drown.
Contain him. And then,
I get that, yeah.
And so that's why we were doing what we were doing. We were like, okay, we gave him, to put 5 guardrails up.
It wouldn't take 5 minutes.
But it took we were for 3 hours. We were just letting him calm down, and we go put one up and then back way off and just sit and wait. We go put another one up and then back off. We were giving all the respect.
Did Rudy have any suggestions or afterthoughts?
Everything that we did was a collaboration of all of our thoughts and ideas. Yeah. Even the vet, this was and Larry.
When they transported him, Was he
So
drugged?
normally they do. He was laying down in the crate when we lifted him off with the 2 machines.
Uh-huh.
And his vet was there with a pulse syringe ready to give him something. And they all decided, hey, he's as calm as he is now. Let's not give it to him because all that's going to do is prolong his craziness by 2 or 3 hours.
But do you think he was
Sedated to get in there?
Yeah.
They told us he was not sedated.
Okay.
We were told he was not sedated, and that's why when Rudy and the vet were talking, like, man, let's not give him anything. If he wasn't sedated and he's laying down right now, because what would happen is all this crap would have happened when we weren't there later tonight when the medicine wear off.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all collectively said, let's not give him anything. And then when we let him out, things changed. But this is where he's at. If you don't mind, just a second, before we take off, can I just cover his head?
That's fine.
With the machine, and then I'll leave that here, and we'll go drive back. I can come get this later.
Sure.
Okay.
So when I texted you earlier,
Oh yeah, no, we were still not in that.
you hadn't dealt with this yet?
No,
Oh.
for sure not. 'Cause I wouldn't have even responded.
Because that was only like, I don't know, an hour and a half before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. When things went south,
Yeah, I have a video.
when you
of
called
him.
me, it was probably 15 minutes max in the window between we started shooting and he's on the ground. And I sent Fiddle to get the bobcat. But yeah, so yeah, when you had texted me, we were still working on the corrals, thinking.
Was he here when it happened?
No.
No.
He got here. He pulled in after I said he's down. I need a bobcat immediately. He pulled into the barn, jumped on a bobcat, started coming to us. All right. So this, he comes. We bring him through here. We back the trailer up to that gate right there, and unload the crate. We shove the crate up. We attach it with chains. We're gonna let him out in here, and this is where he was gonna settle down and feed, for the next little bit. Once we did it, and this guardrail came to here. There was not this one up here, So this was the top. This is what we did this morning in order to try to get him caught in here again and regroup. Well, he does his pacing. He does his running. You see the guardrail on the ground that's bent?
Mm-hmm.
That's where he jumped up and landed. He climbed up it, and he got like 3/4 of his body up it and started leaning on it and started bending it. Then he couldn't get over that. He tried this over here, couldn't get over any of this, and then he ended up getting enough speed or something. He got over to that spot and got into there, and that's when.
So you've replaced what he got into?
This morning. See the one on the ground? This one we were just gonna leave because we were trying to do this quick.
So he broke.
All yesterday, he bent that one and that one.
Where was that one at? The one on the ground?
Directly up.
On the very top?
No. The second up.
This row?
Yeah, this top wasn't on here until this morning.
Okay, there was no top at all?
No top.
Okay, right. All right.
And that's what we were doing this morning in order to catch him again.
To catch him to ship him back?
Yes.
Okay.
Catch him to crate him, and Rudy and everybody were all on standby. As soon as we got him in here, that's what we were going to do. So then he gets it. So without this top rail, we're still going back to yesterday. He's in here. He does his thing. He gets wild. He jumps up. He falls back over. Does that 2 or 3 times. Finally gets over to here and just bolts it for the water. And we're like, man, he's going to drown right now. Goes around. He's out there. He's in the main yard. By this time, when
he went in the water?
Oh yeah, he went in the water.
Did he swim or just walk?
No, he walked. I mean, he got over his head one time and freaked out, and then got up. But all the meanwhile, we get all of our vehicles out of there because now he's in the main yard, and he shouldn't be in the main yard yet.
Yet, yeah.
So we get trucks out, whatever. We're watching him. He's kind of testing the hot wire, which you'll see over here. We don't have it in here because we have the guardrail, but everywhere else on the perimeter, we have a standoff wire. And he would touch it, and he did not like it. He backed off real quick. See the standoff wire all the way around? And we're like, okay, let's let him settle down. Well, he did his thing for quite a while. We were still worried. He ran around for a couple hours, 3 hours I think it was, testing all the spots. He tested the wire a few times, but then got out of there. He wasn't going to work. And then he settled down, and we were able to be like, okay, well, it's not the end of the world that he's in here. This is where he's going to end up, but we didn't want him in here. That's when I decided to cancel the safari admission. I said, said, let's not chance this. We're going to just say we're closed due to maintenance, whatever.
But you weren't closed anyway.
We weren't closed. Yesterday, we're always closed on Sundays. That's why we
No, but you had not planned on closing today?
No,
okay.
Until yesterday at 5. When I left here, I sent a text out to all the guys, and I said, we're not going to chance it. Let's close tomorrow. Let's say due to maintenance, and technically it is. We're going to be working on this pin.
But he was in the main yard as of yesterday at 5.
Yep, and we knew how sketchy he was when we would drive by, so I didn't want guests to be...
To spook him.
Yes. So this morning we get in here early. We checked the cameras at like 7. He's got his energy back. He's doing his thing. We're like, all right, we're going to make this work. We start working. He starts getting testy again, and I call Rudy right away. I'm like, man, I just don't know. I'm like, what do you think about me calling Larry and seeing to try to get this animal, swapped out or returned? He's like, he would be, in other words, he would be not a very good guy if he didn't do it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to call him. So I think Larry reached out to Biddle. Yep. He talked to him a little bit, and then I get a call from Larry, and I'm like, hey, man, this is where we're at. And, we talked. He's like, well, what about, sedating him? And I'm like, well, that's just going to prolong it, but I'll talk to the vet. Kind of went around, and I said, Larry, at the end of the day, man, I don't know if this animal is right for us. If we can get him in a crate and keep him cool, can we work a deal out? And he's like, yes, we'll work a deal out. I will have to do that, and we'll do something. So he'll return the animal if we get it in a crate. So then, talking with Rudy and him being here with the vet yesterday, we dart him anywhere out here in the main yard. He's going right to the middle, and he's going to die anyways. So we're like, we need to get this top rail up and get him caught. And we started this morning right there. We added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We were going to cut that last one to put it up, open the gate and try to catch him. That's when he went out over there by the black bucks. He respects the hot wire, but when he would hit it, he would ground it out somewhere, and we'd have to run and go fix it because then it's not affecting him, right?
Right.
And he would, if he hit his horn here and his face here, he'd go like this, and he would get out of there quick. It was when he would hit it and his head would slide through. That happened, and it happened 2 or 3 times.
3 times.
And
I can show you where
he was stuck, and he wasn't getting out, and he backed out. I'm like, man, he's not going to try it again. There's no way. I mean, they're smart. They know what they can and can't do. Well, literally the last one we were on, he tried it, and he was able to do it, and we'll drive over there, okay. And then we'll kind of go through right there. He got force, and he was able to push up against that slab. I think that's where he got out. Doesn't that seem right? Yeah. Yep, and then he booked it in here. He did what we wanted him to do if worst case scenario is he got in here. And then we were all running with the truck. We drove all the way up in here, and PJ went that way. My brother went in the middle, and I went over there. He got off in there a little ways.
Oh, he went in here?
He went in here. And right here is where we started shooting. We were over there doing the guardrail.
So he got out of primary containment?
Yes, we didn't shoot him while he was still in primary. He just didn't get out of the.
Well, you had said he had 2 feet through.
Multiple times he had 2 feet through. We didn't shoot him when he had 2 feet through. We shot him when he was out because several times he got 2 feet through and then he backed out.
Okay.
And so we were so close to catching him that we didn't want to shoot him right on the spot. But I said, and this is what I told the team. I said, if 4 feet touch the ground on the other side of this wire, he's done. And so we came flying up here. He was still maybe like 10 or 12 trees in. And we start shooting, and we did a lot of damage in here, and he came out of the swamp here.
He actually dropped in here.
He fell like right over there, but then got up and was limping real bad, and I'm going to drive you where he went, okay?
Okay.
So we're in here, bam, bam, bam. He falls, he gets back up, he goes this way, we get back in the truck, we're going this way, you can see our trail here. Gets out on this road, we clear the back, there's no animals behind them, bam bam, we hit him a few times right here on the high end of this pond. He goes that way, doesn't hit the fence or anything, but he follows it, and he's kind of hobbling but still fully with it, right along the fence. So this is us. I mean, we're pacing him right here. We're not, we're right there with him. He crosses in front of that feeding slab with the rails. We jump out and line up. Nothing behind us. Bam, bam, bam. Hit him a couple times again, right here. Get back in our truck. He goes over the cattle guard, stumbles through it because he's out of it completely. now he's over here. We're back in the truck. We drive up to the cattle guard. It was probably like right about here somewhere. None of these animals are out here. He's like right where this Washusi is. Bam, bam, probably 2 or 3 more shots. He makes it around where the cows are smelling right now is where he died. That's why they're smelling over there.
Okay.
He kept on, like right here is probably some of the last shots we took. He got over here. We might have shot 1 or 2 times more right where they are.
One more time each. We pretty much walked up and he was still standing on all 4s. And we both shot him and he dropped and then just laid there.
Yeah.
Alright, you can see.
Right there.
So right there?
Yep. And that's where we came with the truck, backed the stock trailer up to it, loaded them up, went out those 2 gates, and then took them out. And literally, between that one right there. Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, that one's a pill.
Okay.
Between right now to driving back was a matter of probably 5 minutes, and that's when you called me. So I was still fully in the scenario. That's why I don't want you to feel like I wasn't calling you right away. This was still very fresh, very new, trying to get a handle on it.
Where's that? Blood? That's blood right there?
Yeah. And that's my attempt to kind of, with the skid steer, kind of spread it. So on the timeline of events, we went that way. That's when you called me. We buried him up to his head, and then came back here and started dealing with employees that were aware of it.
And when he was out of his enclosure, what were they saying? The employees, the ones that were concerned.
I didn't have a minute to even talk to them about what they were saying. We moved on to the next phase, and that was to make sure he didn't go any further.
So, how long was he in possession of this animal?
We don't know any of that. He was very hush-hush on his end, and you did a lot of the dealing with him. But every time I'd ask a question, I'd say, hey, let's get some pictures of this animal. And we just got, what, like a week ago, 10 days ago, we finally got the first picture. And, you know, can you kind of explain what, so it's a very private
It's from
facility?
CCTU down in Punta Gorda, Arcadia.
Okay, yeah.
And they don't deal with anybody. So he's the one that handles all of this. So, like, it had to come from him. Like, they wouldn't, because we wanted to go see the facility.
Yeah, I wanted to put eyes on the animal, see what kind it was, and we weren't able to do anything.
They don't, because it's that billionaire guy that owns it, and he doesn't let anybody there. And I talked to, like, Mike Mullen in Miami. He's like, yeah, like, everybody knows that's how, I don't even know anybody that works there. Like,
But there wasn't any negativity coming from it. We just thought, well, maybe they're just really private.
Yeah,
Certainly not going to sell a facility like us, a wild, like, one that's never seen people before. Like, that's where we were going down the road. Even Rudy verified that he knew Larry, and Larry wouldn't do that. He wouldn't sell us something that's
he's
crazy.
super reputable.
Did Larry purchase the animal and turn it for a profit to you guys?
We don't know that. I don't know if that's how that facility has to do. They have to sell it to Larry, and then Larry has to sell it on. We just know we paid Safari Enterprises, and it was coming from Florida CCTU. When it was on the crate, I mean, we had 2 machines under it that took the crate off the trailer. The animal laid down the whole time. Like, I was thinking, oh, what's wrong with it? You know, if it had been bucking around and getting crazy, and we'd have known that we were going to get in this situation before, even if we had it in the small pens and it was still doing the crazy stuff it was doing, we would have already darted him and sent him back. But he got out, and there was nothing we could do. It was either kill him.
But you don't have any history in this animal other than it came from Larry, and Larry supposedly got it from CCTU.
You're right.
What did he show up transporting this thing in?
It was a crate shoved in a tall stock trailer, so like a 24-foot gooseneck. Something you'd see hauling cows, really, just a little taller.
And they crate trained the Rhino, so that's the other thing. We were like, okay, I mean, if they're crate training it, then obviously it's got to be somewhat workable, you know. But
we don't know it was crate trained.
Yeah, that's
it
true.
Was darted and put in the crate.
That's true.
Because it didn't seem like it was crate trained.
It was sitting down in the crate, right?
What's that?
That's true too. It was laying down the crate. Like,
But when we asked him, was he medicated? Because the vet wanted to know if he needed to do anything else or what not to give him. We were told he was not medicated at all. Didn't know that until
That investment might be worth having a vet come out here, paying that vet to have a blood sample, and then seeing if maybe there's something in that blood that was not supposed to be in the blood.
that was told that wasn't in the blood. Yeah.
yeah.
So I want to know from your guys' standpoint, because I'm talking myself, you know, I did the right thing in terms of neutralize this thing. There was no other way.
Now listen, so it's a couple things. One is, I don't know if, obviously you have a USDA license as well, so I don't know if there's been any contact with them. There probably should be, because they have their own stuff.
I know.
And again, I completely separate from them, but they will probably find out.
Will your report go to them, or will they?
If they don't hear it from you, they'll hear it from us.
Yes.
Like you have to send this report out and notify them.
I'll call them today and let them know what
If
happened.
they request a report, yeah, we'd be giving copies of the
Yeah.
report.
Yeah, we're not in the business of hiding from other
No,
agencies.
for sure, for sure.
Now, if it appears that Wild Florida would prefer that the FWC didn't contact the USDA, you'd probably be right. Just months before this incident, they had another one, involving the death of 4 goats that escaped the park. And the USDA was not happy about that, and they weren't happy about a few other things too.
So it might be better coming from you first, but going back to what you were talking about neutralizing it, our rules don't prohibit you from doing what you did. So from the lethal take of that animal, from a public safety point of view, the FWC rules don't prohibit that.
Yeah.
You bought that animal, it's yours.
Yeah, we consider that as in personal property, and you took action for public safety. So we have no rules that said you shouldn't have shot and killed it, if that's what you're asking from that point of view. However, USDA has their own stuff with federally protected animals, different stuff like that, so you might want to get ahead of that.
We just don't work in their realm, but we do have kind of an obligation to let them know that, hey, a serious incident occurred, that you'll be, and if they hear about it like a month later from us, you know, oh, you can get a public record. That's just not agencies playing well together.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should probably make a phone call, let them know what happened.
Yeah.
Help you there.
So in all honesty, an escape occurred. Okay. That's stuff we have to discuss still, but it escaped primary containment. You know, being in that big yard with your deer fence, that's not rhino containment. It escaped its primary containment with an approved fence.
Right.
Okay. We're not casting any blame, but to answer your question, did you make the right call? If it got out into the open, out into the, we'll call it the public, not Wild Florida,
Not worth the risk.
you would have had to do that anyway, and you would have had a bigger gap with all these other class 2 hoof stock that are now having
Exactly.
an escape. So
There was no other way.
so while we can't answer your question yes or no, I mean, it would have been a bigger issue had you not, probably.
Right.
If it would have escaped.
Right.
We can't say whether it would have escaped. It made a hard right,
Yeah.
you know. But
Well, I wasn't willing to take that chance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not everything's black and white though.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes we just have to,
Yeah.
make the right call.
Wild Florida stated that they wanted to get another rhino. What do you think? I know this story is a huge bummer for many of you, but remember, these animals don't have a voice. If you enjoyed this video, or I don't know, appreciated this video, make sure to hit that like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget, guys, I live stream on Twitch, so if you like Ark Survival, if you like dinosaurs, come join me over there. I do all sorts of stuff. I gotta turn my camera on, dude.
You didn't turn your camera.